Hi, I'm Daniel with etrailer, and today we're going to take a look at, and I'm going to show you how to install the B&W fifth wheel base rail kit. This kit will only come with your rails and everything you need to install it. It won't come with your fifth wheel itself. And this is all going to be installed on our 2022 Ford F-250 Super Duty. These rails are going to be industry standard, so they're going to fit all of your fifth wheel hitches. Now, we opted to get a slider hitch in here today because we have a short bed. But you can pair this with a variety of different fifth wheel hitches we offer, and we have a lot on our website. If you're not wanting to shop around for your rails and your fifth wheel hitch separately, we do have a kit available that you can get everything all in one purchase. If you're wondering how to properly set the height of your hitch and your bed to your trailer, all you have to do is get your fifth wheel trailer, measure up to the top of the kingpin. You want to take that measurement and subtract it from the measurement you take at your truck. Just from the bottom to the top of the tailgate. Then you just take that measurement and set the top of your hitch as closest as possible to that measurement. The B&W is definitely my favorite kit. The installation is really easy compared to the others, and it has this nice durable powder coat that B&W is known for. Now, as far as the install, it's better than the others, but it is still pretty in-depth. You are having to drill into your bed and torque everything down. So if you don't have the tools or time to do that, you can check out our dealer locator, and we can find a professional in your area to get this installed for you. But if you want to do it yourself, follow along in this video. We'll show you how to do it. First off, we lowered the spare tires so we can have some extra room to work under there when we raise this up. Then we did some prep work, so I laid out all of our hardware, and they give you some tape in the kit that you can put on some of this metal that's going to be touching your bed. If you have that aluminum bed, now we have a spray-in liner, so this may not be needed, but it's always an extra layer precaution, so it is nice to have. We just put this tape on all of that hardware that's going to be touching our aluminum bed, and it just creates a barrier between that aluminum so it doesn't rub. Now we can put the rear rail in place. This is going to be the rail that's closest to our tailgate, and it gives you measurements in the instructions, and I just put pieces of tape down, and I want to measure directly from the end of the bed, and I'm measuring 29 3/8. So I just put a mark on our tape on all these locations, and now I can slide our rail to that mark. And I want to make it even, so I'll take my tape and I'll measure on both sides of the wheel well. Make sure that's reading the same. Once you have everything centered up and where you need it, you'll take a center punch and punch right in the center. And I'll do that on all the locations where we're going to drill. It's going to be the farthest holes on the ends and then the center holes. Now, it might be kind of hard to see once you move this if you just center punch them, so I'm going to use a white marker. It's just a little easier to see where that center is. And then I'm going to move our rail out of the way. Take an 1/8" drill bit and drill out all those locations. We can put our side brackets in place, and I did put tape on this because that's going to be contacting the aluminum. So I'll get this in place, and I'm on the passenger side, and there is going to be a P in this bracket, and you just want to get the two holes facing the cab. And I'll get this put in place. I'll line this hole up in the frame rail with our bracket, and I'm going to take a long bolt and a flat washer. I'm going to get this put through so it holds it in place. I'm going to be using the elongated hole that's closer to the tailgate. And on the side that's closest to the cab, we're going to have a strange looking washer. It's got a cutout in there. We're going to put that in that rectangular hole, and you want most of the metal being facing towards the cab. We'll take our long bolt, put it through our large rectangular washer. I'll get this all put through. On the other side where our bolt's sticking through, we'll put a flat washer, a locking split washer, and then a nut. And I'll do this on both sides, and then the driver's side is going to be exactly the same, except it won't have that weird spacer you'll have to put in. That'll just get a flat washer. This bracket does have a little play to it. You want to line this up with that 1/8 inch hole you drilled, and you want to make sure that's right in the center of that oblong hole closest to the tailgate. And if it's a little off, you can go back up top and re-drill your 1/8 inch hole to make it a little more centered. But once you have it centered, we can lower this back down and open that hole up. I'm going to use a 9/16 drill bit and get all of our pilot holes opened up. The center hole that's closest to the cab, it's right above the hat channel, so we will need to drill all the way down with our drill bit. You want to stay as straight as possible. On just the bed side, we want to open up this hole to a 7/8. So I'll get a bigger drill bit. We just want to make it big enough so our tube spacer can fit in. Now on all that bare metal, I'm going to just use some spray paint to cover that up so this doesn't rust in the future. We'll put our rail back in place, but first I'll get our spacer cylinder and put that in that hole. We'll get our large U-shaped spacers, put those in the center, and I'll place our rail on top. And that hole closest to the cab is going to get our long carriage bolt, so I'll put this through. I'll put a carriage bolt through the one closest to the tailgate, and a carriage bolt on the holes closest to the cab. You're going to get your regular bolts, and that's just going to get a split lock washer. And we get the hardware in place underneath. I'll start with the two bolts, the ones that aren't carriage bolts, and they give you a nut that's welded onto a spacer block, and they give you this tool. I kind of bent it to kind of help us get this in, but this will go in our hat channel. So we will need to get our liner partially removed. There's going to be a fastener closer to your tailgate, and this one was very difficult to get out. I just got a pry bar on the back side and kind of pop this one out. And on the other side, it's just going to be a screw, and I'm going to be using a 7mm socket. I'll just get this removed. Then I can bend this up, and I'm able to access that hat channel, and I'll slide this in. And you may need a second person to spin that bolt up top so you get that to thread into your nut. And I'm just holding that nut in place, trying to get it to catch some of those threads. Now for our carriage bolts that are coming down through our plate, we want to get those large U-bolt spacers. I'm going to put that between the bed and our side plate. Just get that U part around the bolt. On the bolt, I'll take our spacer with the offset hole, get that put in place. I'll get a lock washer. Now your kit does say to put a flat washer between your lock washer and the spacer block, but we have a spray-in bed liner, so we weren't able to get that in. And it does say that you can omit that if necessary. The center bolts, will get those same pieces of hardware, your offset hole spacer block, a locking washer, and then a nut. And then the driver's side is going to be the same process as the passenger side. We have the Patriot slider base in place, and we aligned it up with that rear cross member. We got our front cross member, and we put this in the slots. Now we want to push this base all the way towards the tailgate. So if there is any play in it, looks pretty tight right now. And then I'm going to push our front cross member all the way towards the cab. Now I'll do the same thing. I'll grab a tape measure, measure from the wheel well, and make sure this is centered. I'll do the same thing we did for the rear wheel. I'll take a center punch, punch in the farther holes on either end, and get my 1/8 inch drill bit. And the only difference is we're going to be drilling the hole out that is closest to the cab. We won't be drilling the one on the other side. I got all of our carriage bolts in place. Don't forget to put that spacer in that middle bolt where the ridge is in your bed. And then I put our center section back in place. Now I'll go underneath and get all of our hardware on. The hardware is going to be the same as the other rail. You just want to get that spacer up between your bed and your plate. So I've already put those up there. And then you get your spacer, lock washer, nut. With everything hand tight, we can start tightening everything down and torquing it down. First, we want to tighten the hardware that are going through the bed. So I got a 19mm socket. I'm going to get these all snugged up. I've tightened all the bolts going down into the bed. Don't forget to hop in the bed and tighten those that are going into those hat channels. After you've done that, I'm going to come back with a 15/16 and then tighten the hardware going into our side plates into the frame. And I got a wrench on the other side. I'll torque down all of our hardware in that same order. Make sure you check the instructions for those torque values. And if you don't have a torque wrench at home, you can usually rent one from your local auto parts store. Now we get our center section assembled. So I'll take these pins and I'll put them in all 4 corners. Just slide them all the way in and then get these pins attached. And I'll take the top and I'll just slide this in place. If you have any further questions about this kit in particular or anything fifth wheel related, please feel free to reach out to us. Now that just about does it for the look at the rail kit on our 2022 Ford F-250 Super Duty. Thanks for watching.